I want to go back to my concern, which is that, I mean, do you acknowledge, I guess, that CRT is not the continuation of the liberal civil rights movement?
In some ways, it's not. It is certainly
Mhm.
informed, and this is in Delgado's book, The Introduction to
Right.
Critical Race Theory. It is in some ways informed by, and in some ways, it is critiquing and deviating from a lot of the main figures of the civil rights movement.
Okay. So
Is
would
somewhat
it
informed by
be
it and somewhat in response to it.
would it be fair for me and other people to consider CRT a leftist?
Probably.
Okay. And what about anti-liberal?
Anti-liberal,
In some ways.
that one's harder to justify.
Mm-hmm. Well, so in some ways, okay. Is there some disagreement there?
It's harder to justify it being anti-liberal. The quote that gets brought up is that like it critiques liberalism, which is not the same thing as rejecting it. It says very clearly in the book that there are some benefits. Like colorblind is certainly better than abject racism, certainly better than that. But it's saying that that's not solving all of the problems. There are certain critiques to liberalism, to colorblind policy, and to like like the procedural method of which we enable rights. There are critiques to that. They're not rejecting it, and it's not anti those things. They're just saying sometimes those things like don't address the problems in the way that might be the most efficient.
So I think it's a little stronger than that. I think the Delgado book kind of hides its power level a little bit.
Oh, fuck off.
Well, no, look, listen. If you read,
Doug, how can you like?
We were doing so good too.
Well, can I finish my sentence?
Yeah, let him finish.
Yeah, come on.
See what he's got. Let him finish.
Because if you read the critical race theory key writings that form the movement, I mean, a huge part of it that isn't really talked about too much in Delgado, but is continually mentioned throughout the key writings, is mentioned in the introduction, is talked about by Kimberly Crenshaw, is this idea of race consciousness. And what they mean by that is we need to go back to the ideas of the radical left Black nationalist movement during the civil rights movement. And they kind of complain a lot, actually, about how the liberals won the civil rights movement and made it so that anyone concentrating on race as an important category would be labeled racist. And they say, oh, the liberals, they associated the white nationalist and with the Black nationalist. And this was done intentionally to sort of beat back the radical left side of the civil rights movement and to allow the liberals to win, the public messaging on civil rights.
Can I ask a clarifying
we need
question?
to go back. Well, hold on. And they're saying that, and Gary Peller and Kimberly Crenshaw and all these people are saying we need to go back to the Black nationalist, Black liberation movement. And to me, that's where I say that's very anti-liberal.
Yeah, we don't really, as far as I know, we don't really disagree with that. I don't.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of Black nationalism or Black liberation. I favor an integrated society. I wanted to ask when you say that Delgado suggesting we go back to the ideas.
No, Gary Peller and Crenshaw are really the ones pushing that.
Yeah, what they mean, I'm right. What they mean by that is we need to go back to the ideas of the radical left civil rights movement. What specific ideas are they wanting to return to? Is it just Black nationalism and Black liberation?
They don't like the idea that coalescing around race and giving race importance is considered racist. And what they want to do is they want to say, listen, Black people should be able to all identify as Black, regardless of their ethnicity or where they come from, and use that Black identity to gain power politically and socially without being called racist. That's what their big kind of criticism is of liberalism.
Yeah. So if we still have, and I'm sure you would agree that racism wasn't solved with the Civil Rights Act. We did not solve racism in society with the passage of the Civil Rights Act. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So there are still to this day, in a lot of ways, very little has changed. In a lot of ways, we've made a lot of progress, but in terms of
very little has changed from the 1960s.
Is that what I said?
In a lot of ways.
In a lot of ways,
qualifier out.
Okay.
School segregation is not that much better than it was. Like wealth disparity is not that much better than it was. There's a Kerner Commission that came out like 50 years after, like right after the Civil Rights Movement came out. The Kerner Commission came out and said, hey, these are the things we need to do. And a 50-year retrospective on that Kerner Commission said like, oh, well, you didn't do all those things that we recommended. And because of that, a lot of the problems are still present to this day. So
I don't want to
what I want to ask you is,
let me just insert one thing though, because it's annoying in these kind of conversations when you throw out like some like a little line like, oh, well, not a lot has some things have changed, not a lot has changed, or whatever you specifically said. Cause then it's like, that's like an hour-long conversation.
Okay. Well,
that I'm not really that super interested in at this point right now. Okay. So
would you like
leapfrog that and move on to what you're about to say?
Yeah. A lot has changed.
Because we vehemently disagree.
And that's what I said. A lot has changed, but in a lot of things haven't changed as much as they probably should have in this time frame.
I have a question.
I
have a question, Sitch, when
that's
you're
more
done. So, but go ahead. You seem to be onto a point.
Me or him?
Sitch.
You, Jangles.
No, Sitch.
Wait,
I thought you were asking a point.
Who's running this fucking show?
I'm just curious. No, I'm curious because, like, my thing is, what in CRT is using a scientific lens to understand any of this stuff, Jangles? I've read some of these papers and there's no science.
Wait.
That's why I said Sitch. I'm like, I have a point when you're ready.
I want to stick to this one point at a time.
Okay, so next topic will be the science topic.
Yes.
Go ahead, Sitch. Continue.
No, go ahead, Jangles.
Okay.
See, that worked. He went. Sitch went ahead, and
I'm passing it.
We worked it back.
We
worked it back. It worked. So. Fuck, what was I saying?
Yeah, what is the topic here, Sitch, that you want to stick on so badly?
I got it. Yes. So if we still have racial problems in this country, if we still haven't went past the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow and all that fun stuff and everything that's been like one George Clooney ago, people forget civil rights movement happened to one George Clooney ago. Mm-hmm. So if we haven't gotten past that, how do we not identify these identities that are being like still haven't caught up to where they should be and what is supposed to be an egalitarian society? How do we fix these problems without identifying them?
Yeah, he's basically saying, how do we do it without CRT, Sitch? That's why I'm asking the science question.
Basically, dude, it's
well, because it's not.
All right, no. I want to ask Adam directly. How do we fix racial inequality if we ignore race? Answer that question.
Well, let me hold on.
Nope.
Hold on.
Ask that.
Because that's a different. Wait, because that's a slightly different question. And I don't understand.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Because what I said.
Because
what I said. No, what I said.
Let him explain how it's different. Let him explain how it's different.
There's a difference between saying we need to identify that races are socially.
Which is what
exist.
I just said.
Right.
And then Adam decided what I actually.
Yeah, but you're assigning a position to me that my position is to ignore race, which is fucking a lie.
Let him finish.
It's almost that was the question.
Can I have the talking stick?
No. Let me finish. Let me finish, Connor. Okay. There's a little bit of a difference between saying yes, we need to acknowledge that Black people exist and that Black people as a group exist and face disproportionate problems in society and racism, sexism, and all those things. That's all different than saying I think Black people should use their identity and coalesce around as a group and use this kind of form of racial identity politics in order to enact social or political change in the world. Those are a little bit different concepts.
That's advocacy, Jangles, not science.
Hold on. Do you think one, I'm not talking about science yet. Plus, trust me, we'll get to the studies. All right. But for advocacy, you do need to coalesce around identity. Let's take a really basic one. All right. How would gay people win the rights for gay marriage without coalescing around that identity?
So, okay. So
can you answer that?
I can, but I just want to be clear here. Okay. Do you understand that my major problem with CRT, well, the first thing I said, is that publicly the conversation is not, there's no acknowledgement of what I just said publicly, that the CRT people do not acknowledge that this is a leftist ideology.
Okay, well, you can talk to two of them right now. Two of them are in the room right now.
I understand. No, but people. Yeah, but do you perceive what I'm perceiving, that there is this sort of let's pretend CRT is just this liberal continuation, and that's very dishonest.
Okay, yes, we can critique them. The people who are in the room.
Okay,
how is that useful?
Yeah,
I just want you to understand.
We acknowledge, Sitch. We absolutely do acknowledge there are some people who have some really fucked up or stupid ideas about race. I know you don't.
No. That's not quite. I just want. It to be
it's not what he's saying.
I just want to be acknowledged.
Then let me explain what I mean by fucked up or stupid ideas about race. I mean this idea that we need to coalesce around Black nationalist identity movements in order to achieve what we were trying to achieve 60 years ago, misrepresenting it.
No,
right? Is that more accurate?
Well, I agree. I don't like that.
Okay. Well, I needed to fine tune my language because you had a problem with me just
saying.
But
it's not what he's saying.
I just want it to be acknowledged publicly in the public conversation that CRT is a leftist, not liberal thing.
And by leftist, he means Marxist. He means communist.
And
Okay.
but here's why I'm kind of focusing on this, because you two are the first people we've ever talked to about CRT that will acknowledge that. Every other person I've ever talked to about CRT plays this hide the ball game where they try to convince me that it's actually just this liberal thing.
Okay. Do you acknowledge that there's a lot of like fucked up, genuinely racist people on the anti-CRT side? Do you think you should have to?
Yeah.
Cool. Do you think that you should have to answer for them?
Oh no, listen, I'm not saying this so that you have to answer for it. I'm just putting it out there. I'm happy that you're taking this position. I mean, we
agree. Which is it's weird.
All right, now I've asked.
Okay. Well, I just because
it's a bad analogy though.
Because it's not, and this isn't like this isn't an obtuse thing. Kimberly Crenshaw was on Joy Reid's show, and she basically lied about this. To the public.
Okay, if you just want like a public admission, I'll admit CRT has roots in Marxist thought.
Thank you. That's all I want. I'm done with the conversation. That's all I wanted.
Cool.
I can go to sleep now. Thank you so much.
No, you can't, because you still got a lot to answer for.